but unto all them also that love is appearing. I thank you. Thank you, GOC. We will now have UNSRG Lieutenant Lekita. May you come forward, please.
Mr. President, sir, allow me to rest and observe. Good evening, everyone. Standing before you is Lieutenant Lekhina from RSAQRF, that is based at Sake in Moscow. I'm here as a representative or an ambassador of UN. I'm representing Ms. Bantu Keita, which is a mission commander and a special representative to the Secretary General of United Nations. So the letter reads as thus. With profound sadness and solidarity, I write this letter to pay tribute and honor to our fellow UN family members. M1109840, Private Andres Tiriso Mabele, and M1109844, Private Mokiti Joseph Movie, who were taken away from us following their ultimate and tragic death. Words cannot describe how deeply sorry I am to report our loss and how much their death have and will continue to impact us who are rendering service in achieving the UN mandate of selflessly protecting the civilians in the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. We pay tribute to them for embodying what it truly means to wear the blue helmet. They will be deeply missed by their families, comrades, friends, and all who knew them. To their bereaved families and colleagues who were not prepared for such profound loss, I pray that they find comfort in the Most High. Rest in peace, M1109844, Private Andres Tiriso Mabele, and M1109844, Private Mugeti Joseph Movie. Please accept my deepest condolences for the tragic loss of our dear comrade in arms. I thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now invite the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Rizal Mapchanya, to deliver the speech. Generals.
To the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, to the bereaved families of our fallen soldiers, allow me also to acknowledge the presence of all the chairpersons of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense. Allow me also to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Zanele Mbeki, all members of Parliament, members of the Plenary Defence Staff Council, and members of the Military Command Council, all members of the Military Attaché Corps, generals and admirals, officers, the Sergeant Major of the South African National Defence Force, Sergeant Major Mochache, the Chaplain General of the National Defence Force, Chairperson of the South African National Defence Force Forces Forum, Gomme Mapshanya, and her executive, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here tonight filled with profound gratitude and deep sorrow. In this world often marred by conflict and strife, our soldiers went into the heart of darkness with unwavering courage. They were tasked with a mission to maintain peace and restore hope in the land that has witnessed too much suffering over the past 30 years. As their names were read, this is not mere formality, nor as a last roll call, for they will never be able to answer to any roll call that will be made. These names live forever in our hearts and in the history of our people. These soldiers were part of the Southern African Development Community Mission in the DRC, known as SAMI-DRC, and the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the DRC, known as MONUSCO. Both MONUSCO and SAMI-DRC mandate have a common objective, which is to support the regional and the international effort in achieving the lasting peace and security in the DRC. Each member of the South African National Defence Force who answered the call to serve in the DRC carried out the mission with the spirit of selflessness and sacrifice. They fought gallantly against rebels of M23 who threatened the fragile peace, embodying the very essence of what it means to be a defender of freedom. To the families who are with us today, I want you to know that your loved ones served with unwavering bravery, and therefore they looked at death in the face. They challenged all that seemed to be a daunting task that many wouldn't have liked to face, and yet they persevered. Through their commendable conduct, they personified the spirit of resilience, demonstrating a level of commitment that inspires us all. They did not back down in the face of adversity. Instead, they rose to the occasion, demonstrating the very principles of courage and selflessness that we in the South African National Defence Force hold very dearly. It is often said that the true measure of a soldier, his valor, is not found in the victories won on the battlefield, but in the lives touched and the peace that is is fostered. Our fallen comrades understood this truth deeply. They stood side by side with their fellow soldiers, united in their mission to protect the innocent and restore hope in the land ravaged by conflict. They believed in the power of peace and in the importance of their role in creating a safer world. They believe that peace is not just the absence of war, but the presence of justice and hope. If peace and stability is what our fallen heroes were pursuing, it begs to raise just a few pertinent issues that these fallen comrades would be asking themselves today if they were given the opportunity. Are we collectively, as South Africans, united and rallying around the common goal in supporting the families and the remaining comrades in remembrance of our fallen heroes? As we seem to be so naive at times as not to see through the intent of those who are questioning the presence of our soldiers in the Eastern DRC, have we forgotten as a nation that our deployment to DRC is premised on our quest for everlasting peace and stability in our region, which is in actual fact a prerequisite for a sustainable development? When reflecting on all these questions that our heroes would have liked to ask us as a nation, I stood and then I reflected chest high and faced some of difficult realities. As South Africans, we sometimes behave as if we enjoy inflicting pain unto ourselves. A nation in grief of their fallen heroes should not be throwing accusation and counter-accusations on the merits and demerits of the status of our deployment. One tends to go on and ask as to in whose interest is it that we should be entangled in this tug of war. Again, our fallen heroes would be asking, is it the right time to be opening a debate on the defense funding? We, as the National Defense Force, have on several occasions acknowledged the challenges of insufficient funding. We are continuously telling all South Africans that there is a need to revise our current budget allocation in favor of building our capacity for defense. We have stated this without any shame, that a drastic injection is required to build capacity in the National Defense Force. But these are interactions that we make with those who are supposed to be listening to us. And indeed, we have stated that this drastic injection is urgent. So, it is nothing new that we should, at this moment, move around trying to politicize this matter, saying that the Defense Force could have done better. We have done as much as we could in the circumstances that we found ourselves. Our people were armed, resourced, and capable of meeting the challenge that they faced. The outcome of our engagement has seen an assurance as pronounced by the Commander-in-Chief, the President of this country, that the budget of defense will be increased to 1.5% of the GDP. Maybe it is important for me to state that defense funding is primarily future-orientated, and what we are fighting for is for us to establish a defense force of the future, And that is how the Commander-in-Chief understood what we needed. For today, we do have capabilities that are equal to the task, capabilities that are ready to defend and protect our country and its people. Maybe, again, I must start by indicating that buying weapon systems is not like going to buy a loaf of bread. Weapon systems, the turnaround time is long, and therefore, what we are asking is for us to be able to move into the future and not to try and answer the now problem. As a commander of the National Defense Force, I urge that we both serving and retired generals, including our media, should not be playing a blame game at this moment if indeed we are concerned about our challenges and supporting our soldiers and the bereaved families. If indeed we feel that the nation has the right to know, we will make the people know. But one would have expected that we go through a period of mourning as a nation and then introduce a discussion over the matters that are important and that our analysts and overnight defense specialists are being encouraged to embark on, and not brush salt on the gaping wounds of our bereaved families and comrades. I am not sure if the time is opportune, and if we feel that it is appropriate time, we must determine how we must package and present the state of our case without being insensitive to the feelings and emotions of our bereaved families. In my opinion, bringing and discussing these issues at this particular moment of mourning is indeed insensitive and tantamount to rubbing the salt on the gaping wounds of the nation in grief. This is the time that we should be dedicating our energy and effort in soothing the pains of our people, because the nation is mourning. Maybe, without being arrogant, I must just take a few seconds to address myself to the generals, both serving and retired. I'm making this plea because generals are leaders of our society and must inspire confidence and hope to our people. Our utterances and behavior must reflect that resolve to occupy the moral high ground befitting the ethic morality that governs the general staff. If there is a national security issue that affects our nation, grandstanding on national TV may not bring immediate solution, but may, in most instances, be harmful to the image of our country and to that particular individual. As a general, his reputation becomes questionable. As we commemorate the remarkable contribution of our heroes, let us also acknowledge the impact they had, their passing on their families that they so much cherished. To you, my family, and the entire DoD family, your sorrow and grief is shared by a nation. They recognize and understand that yours is a noble task, a task that none would stand and carry out except those who are patriots. Our African proverb tells us that when a brave man dies, he does not take his courage with him. It is shared amongst those left behind. Today, we feel the immense weight of that shared courage. It falls to us to carry forward their mission and honor their sacrifice with our actions. We will ensure that our beloved ones' sacrifices are never forgotten and their stories will be told for generations to come. In the face of this tragedy, we must summon the strength to build a new hope. The commitment to peace must ignite the flame within us, inspiring us to continue the work they began. We must strive to create a world where peace prevails, where conflict is resolved through dialogue and understanding, and where the ideals of justice and equality reign. In that way, the captains of the war economy will be defeated and the peace dividend will flow to all. As the commander of the National Defense Force, I assure you that our commitment to peace and security remains steadfast. We will honor the memory of our fallen soldiers by continuing to pursue the ideals they fought for. We will strive to ensure that every mission we undertake is a testament and continue to be a testament of our preparedness to lay down our lives. For we have said we are prepared to lay down our lives in defense of our country and our constitution. We will work tirelessly to ensure that peace flourishes in the region that is plagued by strife. Let us remember that in the darkest times, it is our collective spirit that shines the brightest. Together, we can build a future that honors their legacy, a future filled with hope, strength, and resilience. Let their courage inspire us to be better citizens, better soldiers, better neighbors, and better human beings. I therefore, at this moment of pain, dip our banners as the National Defense Force to the sacrifices that our heroes had made. Their bravery in the face of danger has not only protected the countless lives, but also upheld the values of peace and security that we strive to achieve. May their souls rest in peace, and may their families find comfort and strength during these difficult times. We will remember them. We will remember them. May their beautiful souls rest in peace. Thank you.
Before we call forward the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the President of the Republic, President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, we will ask the choir to sing a plea for Africa. Thank you. It is indeed an honor and privilege to call forward the President of the Republic to give us the main address.
Thank you. Let us be seated, please. Program directors, the bereaved families of our fallen soldiers, Minister of Defense and military veterans, Ms. Angie Mutsecha, who had to leave a little earlier to catch a flight to Addis Ababa to the meeting of the African Union, where she will attend the Peace and Security Council meeting with all other countries on our continent to discuss peace and security on our continent. Her counterpart is here, Minister of Defense of the Democratic Republic of Congo, His Excellency Mr. Guy Kabombo Mwadiam Mbida. The charge d'affaires of the DRC to South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Benene. I want to extend greetings to the members of Parliament who are here present, and ministers and deputy ministers of the Republic of South Africa also here, and chairpersons of the committees of our Parliament, and extend my greetings to our former First Lady, Zanele Mbeki, and also former Minister, Mr. Jeff Khadebe, who is my special envoy to the Great Lakes, and the Chief of our National Defense Force, General Ruzani Mapwanya, and members of the Military Command Council, and members of the Plenary Defense Staff Council, generals and admirals, and officers, non-commissioned officers, and fellow South Africans. Ntumeleng go thoma ka go fetišetša matshedišo a rena legatong la mmuso le batho ka moka ba Afrika Borwa, gagologolo go malapa le batho ba United Republic of Tanzania le ba Republic ya Malawi ka lebaka la go latlhegelwa ke masole a bona. Re fetisisa ditebogo tsa rena go mmuso wa Uganda le setšhaba ka moka sa Southern African Development Community ka thekgo e ba re fileng yona go kgona go kgotlisa bana ba rena. Bosigong ba kajeno a lekgono re eme mo ka dipelo tse boima those countries who have really assisted us to bring back our fallen soldiers. Our nation is in mourning for these brave souls who lost their lives in defense of our brothers and sisters in the Eastern DRC. On behalf of the people of the Republic of South Africa, I offer my profound and deepest sympathies to the families of our fallen soldiers. Laba iba ime ibona nyamutla la bana hlekiriwe ibitomi bya bona ikuri abalwela kurhula na kwenza kuri swibhamu leswi swi fana kuri swimiyela kwendlela kuri Afrika-Dzonga na Afrika leyi hinkwayo iva na kurhula. They lost their lives in defense of the defenseless. Yes, our fellow Africans, even if they may sound like they are in faraway countries, they are still Africans. Indeed, the South African National Defense Force is a force that is for the brave. And those who have taken an oath to serve the people of our country, but as we are called upon to participate in missions of our continent, but also in international missions, they responded to that call to serve. As a nation, we are indeed proud of our very brave fallen soldiers. We have fulfilled our duty to bring our soldiers back home. We must fulfill our duty to complete their mission. I want to thank the Ministry of Defense and the leadership of the South African National Defense Force for making every effort to repatriate the remains of our fallen troops to their families. Earlier, I had an occasion to meet with the families of our fallen soldiers. It was a moment of great sadness as we passed our condolences directly to the families. They are sorrowful, and it is to be understood. Ndilibuanga manda muhasho wa SANDF amushume wabawita ubuyisa masole asho. Our thanks also go to the United Nations, the Southern African Development Community, and other governments for their assistance. This was an operation involving considerable logistical challenges at a time when the security situation in the Eastern DRC remains volatile. And I'd like to thank the commanders who are currently in the DRC for sending a message to the families of those who have fallen, but also a message to all of us in South Africa. Hierdie pligtige geleentheid is 'n skerp herinnering aan die groot koste verbonde aan die bou van vrede in ons land, wat dikwels in die lewens van ons beste betaal word. En toch is vrede een ideaal waarna ons vir ewig moet en sal streef. The South African Defence Force is a defence force that is capable of defending the people of South Africa, but also capable of intervening in the interest of peace and security for those who need it in our region. We intervened recently in Mozambique when Mozambique was threatened by negative forces, and we knew that as we intervened, we were not only intervening on behalf of the people of Mozambique, but on our own behalf as well, because what had befallen Mozambique through the incursions of insurgents could easily befall us. And we acted in defense of our own country and also in defense of the people of Mozambique and our own region. South Africa is a troop contributing country to the SADC mission in the DRC and the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the DRC as well. And as a country, we remain firmly committed to supporting all processes to bring peace in our region, but more particularly to bring an end to the conflict that has been raging in the DRC for almost 30 years. As we participate in these missions, I'd like us all to know that we are also defending our own freedom, we are also defending our own peace. The Chief of our National Defense Force, General Mapanya, is absolutely correct in restating the mission of our soldiers, of the Defense Force. And he's decrying the politicization of this whole mission, and indeed the politicization of the lives of our soldiers. And his call to his former colleagues who are generals, and his call to current serving generals, is a correct one. And his call also to all of us as South Africans is a correct one, that this is not a time, yes, to be debating all the matters that have been current in our media, but it is a time to mourn the death of our fallen soldiers. We are encouraged by the outcomes of last week's joint summit of the East African Community and the South African Development Community, a summit that was, as I stated in Parliament this afternoon, quite historic, in that it is a summit that prioritized the political solution to the crisis in the East DRC. And South Africa reiterates its call for an immediate ceasefire and for a cessation of hostilities for all the warring parties to resume in inclusive negotiations. And as I indicated this afternoon, we call on all actors, both state and non-state actors, to participate dialogue that is led by President Lorenzo of the Republic of Angola, assisted and facilitated by President Uhuru Kenyatta, former President of Kenya. As Africans, we are one people. When one part of Africa bleeds, we feel its pain. As Afrikaners, almal van ons is een volk. Wanneer een deel van Afrika bloei, almal van ons voel die pyn daarvoor. Sama Afrika rote re batho bathihi musi chimwe chipida cha Afrika chichi bva malofha ri pfa vhuṱungu roṱhe. Loko hina hi ri maAfrika, loko munhu mun'we a vaviseka, hina hinkwaswo ha twa ku ri hi ntiyiso a vaviseka. The Congolese people cry out for protection, for an end of war and for their own dignity. The gallant soldiers whose lives we are celebrating today, but whose lives we are also mourning, answered the call. And to the families of the bereaved, we say, take comfort that your family members, your fathers, your husbands, your brothers, your cousins were heroes, and we as South Africans regard them as heroes of our nation. Their work in the DRC was not just about maintaining order. It was about building bridges, building peace, fostering understanding, and creating pathways for lasting peace in our region and in our continent. And so we say to you, in the words of S.E.K. Mkhai, in his poem he wrote after the sinking of the ship Mendi, he said, be consoled, all of you orphans. Be consoled, all you widows. Somebody has to serve so that others can live. With these words we say, be consoled. This is how we build ourselves as ourselves, close quotes. As South Africa, we will not weaken in our resolve to realize the vision of an Africa free from war and conflict, an Africa free of poverty and underdevelopment, and an Africa at peace with itself and the world. This is a noble mission for those in our country who question what it is we are doing in the DRC. We say, from the time our country became free, we have participated in many missions to bring about peace on our continent. We are a trusted country and a reliable country when it comes to peace building. We have succeeded in bringing peace and building peace in a number of countries on our continent. And yes, we have lost heroic soldiers in the course of doing so in many missions that our country has been and our soldiers have been involved in. This is one of those missions. The achievement of this vision is the most fitting tribute that we can pay to our fallen heroes and the greatest honor to their memories. And yes, in joining the slogan of our soldiers and defense force, we will not forget them. These are sons of our African soil, and these are the honored heroes of our country. I want to thank them, one and all, and their names have been read a number of times even tonight. I want to thank them for the sacrifice that they made for others to be free and for others to live in peace. And I want to say to them, you died on the battlefield far from all you hold dear. But you are home now. You have come to your resting place. We are here to receive you with open arms and to lay you to rest. And to the families gathered here, we thank you for your sacrifice. For you have made the ultimate sacrifice as well, by letting this country have your sons so that they can serve the cause of peace on our continent. And I thank you as the Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces, because they have paid the ultimate price. We as South Africans join you as the bereaved families in your grief. Yes, as you feel pain as a result of your loss, a loss that is so overwhelming. And as a nation, we will forever be thankful to you as individual families for the sacrifice that you have made. But we will eternally remember these soldiers that we are now going to lay to rest. And we will give them the honors that they deserve. And I'm very pleased to be leading a South African National Defense Force that is so well organized as to be able to give them the military honors as we lay them to rest in all parts of the country where they have come from. The children of our various provinces have lost their lives. Let us celebrate their lives and give them the honor that they deserve. South Africa dips its head collectively in honor of these soldiers. And I want to thank you all as families for being able to come here so that we can have this memorial and bid them farewell. And I wish you courage. I wish you courage as you yourselves as families, aided and assisted by our defense force, as you lay them to rest. I know that it is a difficult time for you all as families. It is also a difficult time for us as a nation, and we will forever remember them. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now call Chaplain Doram Pafele to do the scripture reading. Chaplain Pafele.
Good evening to all. As I'm going to read from the Christian Bible, I would like to acknowledge all other faith expressions present in this tent or in this gathering this evening. The Old Testament books, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, reading verse 1 and 8, and it reads as follows. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Here ends the reading of the scripture. May the good Lord bless it. Amen.
I will now request the choir to sing a hymn while we'll be ushering the presence of the Chaplain General of the South African National Defence Force, Brigadier General Thabo Masweu. Choir, please.
Sure.